Morning, fellas. It's 8:40, and we're working our way up to 90 degrees. It's Saturday, July 12th, and yeah, I gotta switch the wheels out on the sliding glass door, but that'll be later on. I got a neighbor coming up that's going to give me a hand because pulling that thing out is a bear. Also got these for the Dremel. It's let's see, got 60 grit and 80 grit, 180 grit, and that's gonna clean up the track in here and get this all down. So we get that. I got some holes to fill here from where the old taillight panel comes, and one to fill here. So we have a few more things of welding to do and grinding down. I started putting in the latch panel and ran into a problem. That's why the spot welder's on the bench apart. As you can see right here, see, can you get it? As we sit there and put it down, let's see if I get this in camera. If we sit there and put this down, the lugs were starting to hit the side before they'd even hit the bottom of the channel. So, and the funny thing about it is, if you look, can you see that? We were making contact. But I have this thing adjusted, and I'm not taking that screw out for nothing until I'm sure that this thing's in. So I got 2 more tips ordered, and they're on their way. I'm going to shave one pair, not the original ones here, but I'm going to shave one of the new pair down to fit. I thought of leaving this one in and getting a brass bolt to throw in there and then just taper the bolt down, because it would, the brass bolt would fit in the channel, as you can see. But a friend of mine told me that it wouldn't work that way. Even though it's resistance welding, it still wouldn't work that way. So that's where we're at today. I wanted to work on the trunk, get the battery box in, and do some wiring, you know, just to break the monotony up from doing all the body work for the last couple of weeks and throwing mud and sanding it down and throwing mud. So looks like we're back to throwing mud on this thing. Where I left off last week is I coated the bottom. I think that's its final coat, and I recoated the area up in there that was light, and this still is an 80 scratch on it. We haven't hit it with the 120 yet, and I still have down there to do, and I have down here to do. So, yeah, looks to be somewhat of a John Kerry day. We're going to get up to about 106 today, and the Camaro is dirty. We had rain all week on and off. So, as always, when I have more, I'll turn this back on. Later. Hey fellas, let's see. Haven't worked on the car yet. Been doing mostly honeydews and errands. I washed the outside of the garage door. The wife was after me to do that. And we needed some more lacquer thinner and acetone. So we got some more of that. And I also stopped at the liquor store. And I got a question for everybody out there in the garage. When you see that, do you think of Duke University or do you think of John Wayne? I read in the paper this week that Duke University is suing the family of John Wayne, saying that the Duke name is theirs, and that this is not what they want the university to be portrayed at, as making Kentucky bourbon. But I look at that and instantly I think of John Wayne, and not the frickin' university by no stretch of the imagination. I think Duke was just, the university's just trying to grab some limelight. That's my opinion, and you know, opinions are like assholes, everybody's got one. So it's just thought it was kind of unique. So now I get to get dirty. We're going to start sanding on some body filler. So when I get more, I'll turn this back on later. Hey fellas, all right, the lower portion from the body line down has an 80 scratch on it, and it's ready for 110 or 120. And the upper side, this has an 80 scratch on it, and it's ready for a 120. And then we're going to start down there on the lower one. We'll tape off the body line, and over on this side, once I do that, lower in 120, we're going to start with this in 80 and see if there's anything wrong with it, and if not, then this quarter panel's done, except for the wheel well. I got to smear some mud on the spot welds in there. So when I get more, I'll turn this back on. Thanks for watching. Later, guys. Hey guys, it's about 2:30, and we're at about 92. Okay, upper half has a 180 scratch in it. Lower half has a 180 scratch in it. But the very bottom, right down in there, I got to give it another coat of mud right above the rocker panel. Still needs another coat of mud. Haven't done anything on this lower section. Remember, from here down, if you look real close, you can see some air bubbles. I'll have to get the icing out and hit that. But 180, 180. Upper half, 180. I'm getting ready to put the first coat of mud down here. And I started up here, sanding everything 180. A couple weeks ago I decided that when I'm going to prime this thing, I'm going to prime it from the A-pillars, roof, quarter panels, back. I'm not going to do the doors, I'm not going to do the jambs. I will do in here, so I still have to clean sand up in there. And oh yeah, tail light panel pretty much has 180. I still got some mud I got to lay in here. This isn't feeling quite right yet. There's something going on in here, so I'll give it a nice coat of mud. So that's what the goal. I got two more weekends in here before I head back to the Midwest for my mom's birthday. So the goal is to have this thing masked and ready to shoot when I come back, because I'll have a 4-day weekend when I come back. And it'll give me plenty of time to take care of anything else and to shoot this thing. So the goal is, that is the goal. I have this ready to go in 2 weeks. Tomorrow I'm going to finish this, so I call this quarter panel good, and I'm going to start getting the roof and the A-pillar and all in here cleaned off, and start getting that all down and getting it into 180 scratch. I want to be able to walk from one side to the other and be done with it. I'm going to drill 1/8-inch pilot holes in the trunk lid so I can line it up pretty quick. And I'm going to pull the lid off of the trunk, and we're going to start cleaning this track up. I still got to weld here and here and grind it down, in here and here and grind it down, and get this latch in. So it's all going to rely on whether I get that latch in, but we're going to keep working. So that's the game plan. I think it's a little aggressive. I think it's a little much, but I think it's doable if I apply myself. So we're going to get this in its first coat of mud, and then I'm going to take the block, and I'm going to put an 80 scratch on this and see how it looks. And if there's no filler or nothing needed, then I'm going to go ahead and give it a 180 and be done with and call that good. So that's where I'm at, and that's the plans, at least so far, until something to change. During the week, what I'll do is when I get an area done is I'll start masking it off, like the front engine and everything, and just start masking off where I can mask off once I sand everything and get it down. So that's the plan for right now, you know, subject to change. And the way my plans have been going on this thing, everything is subject to change. So that's all I have for now. When I get more, I'll turn it back on. Later, guys. Okay, fellas, it's a little after 3, and I got mud down in this bottom area right in here, and I put some icing on there to cover up the air bubbles. Oh, this has been blocked, this bottom section of the quarter panel to 180. Underneath here where it ties into the trunk drop, I got to give a coat of mud to hide the spot welds. We'll do that tomorrow. Then we're going to continue on working on back through this panel. I'll get the Dremel out and we'll cut the groove, find the groove back in case you all were wondering. Yes, I did make myself a template, so I can find it. So, and we'll cut the groove back in here. I want to do that before I prime it. I also got to get some seam sealer down in there, and same on the other side. We got mud on this corner, and we got mud on the lower area. So let me shut this fan off, because I'm calling it quits for the day. Air compressor off. So yeah, so this is in a 180 scratch. So everything when I get done is going to be a 180 scratch. The goal for tomorrow is to get this bottom of the quarter panel like the other side, and mud the bottom if we need to. We'll mud both sides at the same time. I want to get inside of both wheel wells. See where I put Duraglass on the spot welds, and now I want to sit there and put finished mud on there so they come out nice. Do that on both sides. I'm going to drill alignment holes, 1/8 inch alignment holes in the trunk, and I'm going to pull this off. And I'm going to start welding up here and start cleaning this up, and we'll sand this and this. So we're going to do a max effort on getting this in 180 grit. In between letting stuff dry and everything else, we'll start on the roof and getting that into 180 grit. And like I said, during the weeks that I have and I get an area done, start in the forward area and work my way back. We'll start masking it off and get it ready to get in the primer. I still have to shoot this satin black, but we can do that at a later date. Doesn't have to be right now. Now I want to get the roof and back in the primer. So I might break open that bottle of bourbon from Duke University, Snicker, 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 and have me a shot. So as always, you guys have a good one. Later.